Now you have watched two different videos about equivalent fractions. Yesterday, Mrs. Campbell went through the journal pages talking about how to generate equivalent fractions. This morning, you should have watched a Savas video on using a number line to create or generate equivalent fractions. We're just going to take a couple minutes worth of notes to do a quick review of how you can find equivalent fractions. If you have your red math notebook, that would be the best place to take these notes. If not, just get a piece of paper and we'll keep these in our red math folder. I always like to title my notes at the top so I know exactly what they're about. I also always like to have the date at the top so I know when we learned this topic. Let's take the fraction 2/3. To generate an equivalent fraction, I need to multiply the numerator and denominator by the same number. I know in my math class we like to do a little chant. To find an equivalent fraction, multiply or divide the numerator and denominator by the same number. I usually like to keep it pretty simple, and maybe I will use a 2. 2 times 2 is 4, and 3 times 2 is 6. 2/3 is equal to 4/6. You could also multiply the numerator and denominator by 3. 2 times 3 is 6, and 3 times 3 is 9. So 2/3 is equal to 4/6 and 6/9. There are an infinite number of possibilities for generating equivalent fractions for 2/3. You could multiply the top and bottom by 100. As long as you multiply the top and bottom by the same number. Again, I recommend keeping it simple so that you're working with numbers that are easy to work with and easy to multiply. Now, sometimes you can divide to find an equivalent fraction. What can 4 and 6 both be divided by? What we're really looking for here are the factors. 1 times 4 equals 4. And 2 times 2 equals 4. So 4 has 3 factors, 1, 4, and 2. What about the number 6? 1 times 6 is 6, and 2 times 3 is 6. So 6 has 4 factors. Let's find the ones they have in common. They can both be divided by 1, and they can both be divided by 2. Dividing 4 and 6 by 1 isn't going to do me much good. That's just going to give me 4/6 again. So let's try dividing them both by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. So now you have an example of dividing to find an equivalent fraction. So remember, you can either multiply or divide the numerator and denominator by the same number to get an equivalent fraction. Now, let's do one more example together. Let's try 1/5. To find an equivalent fraction, I cannot divide because 1 can only be divided by 1. So I'm going to multiply the top by 3, the numerator, and the bottom, the denominator, by 3. That's going to give me an equivalent fraction of 3/15. Now I'll multiply the top and bottom by 4. 1 times 4 is 4, and 5 times 4 is 20. So 1/5 is equal to 3/15, and it's also equal to 4/20. Can you find another equivalent fraction for 1/5? Finish this part on your own. Maybe send me an email. In the email, just write 1/5 is equal to whatever fraction you come up with. Now, if Mrs. Campbell is your teacher, you'll want to send her the email. Once you understand how to generate equivalent fractions, you're ready to move on to today's assignment.